We're the two gay reefers.
What's up, reefers? It's Gordon and Darren here from the Two Gay Reefers. We haven't done a Reefzilla update in a long time.
This big bad boy behind us has been ticking along,
Causing us grief.
causing us grief. So we thought we'd wait until we actually had some good news to go along with some of the bad news we've had as well. So let's get right into it.
So we'll start with the bad stuff first.
Everything in Reefzilla was moving along quite nicely. We had nice coral growth and a bit of colour happening on the SPS. We noticed a bit of bleaching on some of our colonies, just a little bit to start off with. Around that time we actually put in our last batch of fish, which was Mr. Pinky, Madge the Majestic and the little boxfish. Two of those unfortunately didn't survive, and it was around that time we knew something was wrong. We'd started pellet food at that time, which we're pretty inexperienced with. We've never really fed a lot of that before, and as you know, pellet food can be higher in nutrients if it's not taken care of correctly.
And a lot of it was just basically floating to the ground and just sitting on the sand bed. With only one sand sifter, it wasn't being consumed.
What made it worse is at around that time, we're not sure when because we didn't actually notice it straight away when it happened, our sump light, our Refugium light decided to pack it in as well, which meant that we weren't actually growing any algae in the Refugium. It had just stopped.
So instead of growing down there, it all grew up there.
Yeah, and it wasn't a pleasant algae at all. It was like a dead sort of sickly sort of algae.
Is there a pleasant algae?
No, not really. But
Not on the display tank, there's not. But this stuff was not pretty. It was just sickly.
Sickly, yeah. And then what made it worse is that would trap any detritus in it, and then you get a nice cover of cyanobacteria over the top, which is that lovely red slime algae, covered with a nice cover of green algae. So it's a little bit like Christmas, but not the type of Christmas you actually want to celebrate.
No,
at all.
not at all. Not at all.
So because of all this, we lost some corals, unfortunately. We lost quite a few SPS. So good thing was we hadn't put any really expensive SPS in there.
Which we generally don't do anyway, so
yeah.
which is probably good because we do happen to have a few issues every now and then.
It was really heartbreaking, to be honest. It was just like, just when you thought everything in the tank was going fine, it just stopped. In response to that, we had to do something, and the first thing was to stop buying any new coral, which
It's really hard for him.
really hard. Like, so hard.
He would come home with a coral a week,
Yeah, most weeks.
3 or 4 times a week.
Second thing we fixed was the sump light. So we got a new one of those. We got a nice
The T5.
T5
on loan at the moment still.
on loan.
So we still need to replace our sump light.
Yep. We also got our skimmer tuned really nicely, so it's pulling out lots of garbage at the moment, which is really good, especially seeing though we just got some new fish. More on that later.
And we did a full sump clean. Check out the video up here.
Full sump clean.
That was definitely needed. Got out the wet dry, vacuumed out the bottom of the sump, made it all nice and clean.
Oh, we actually also changed some of the flow around in the tank as well. Down the middle of our rockscape, we actually put the Tunzi on the side, blowing straight down that canyon, straight
across that way.
straight through the rockwork. And lo and behold, we started seeing the algae sort of deteriorating. Not a lot, mind you, but it started falling off and it's really flimsy in places, and slowly everything started to come back into control. After everything had started to settle, to improve our success, we thought we'd try some supplements that we've actually tried before, which is the Red Sea A, B and C range.
Going back to what we know and trust has worked in the Red Sea Reefer, we decided we should use exactly the same thing in Reefzilla, although we did go the powdered route this time.
Yep, so we're mixing up our own, so especially seeing though this guy will probably be nice and thirsty with those, it'll end up more economical in the end. But when we went to change them over, lo and behold, some of our supplements weren't dosing because the lines weren't in the bottom of the tubs. Where's him? But that also compounded all of our issues. It's been
a struggle.
It's been
a real struggle. We see all these really nice, pristine display tanks out there, and then we come home and see ours and go,
And it's not that it's been really bad, it's just seeing some of our favourite corals that were doing so well one week just gone the next week. But
things are improving.
Things are improving indeed. We've got some new fish. First one we got was our new Majestic Angel Marge. So
Not Madge, Marge.
Marge. Chucked an R in there just to make it easy for us to remember because I kept calling Madge the Majestic. So it's now Marge the Majestic. Now this Majestic is a tiny bit smaller than our last one. He's really happy and healthy.
She swims around the tank.
There she is there.
There she is right there. She swims around the tank and is really active in the tank. Is eating like a trooper. Hasn't quite started on the aptasia yet, but she's getting there. She's nibbling a little bit, which is good.
Yep. No nibbling on any corals.
No.
That we have any corals left for her to eat. She's really a sweet, gentle soul. She doesn't like to jump in there and eat with everyone else. She sort of hangs back a bit and just...
She knows the food will come to her.
Yeah. And she's just a lovely fish to watch. She's just so pretty.
Yep. The second fish is Picard the Sailfin Tang.
So this is one of the Desjardini tangs. I had to think about how to pronounce that. And the difference is that this one is from the Red Sea, so he's got lots of nice stripes. He's got a lovely freckled face, which is very cute and gives him lots of personality, but...
And that beautiful big sail.
Oh. Now there is a little story behind the name, Gordon.
I don't remember the story now.
So the Enterprise is actually named after a tall ship. And
Tall ships have sails.
big sail.
Big sails. So, it makes sense.
I thought Enterprise was a bit of a naff name.
Yeah,
I thought that's not a fish name, so we went with Picard instead.
Yep. The best captain of the best Enterprise.
And coming on a new season very soon too, apparently. Next fish we want to talk about today is Homer the Yellow Tang.
I'll be honest, I wasn't a big fan of the yellow tangs. I look at them and go, meh, they didn't do anything special for me when they're in the shops. But I've grown to like Homer. He's a good little fish.
I think you had issues just because a lot of the yellow tangs you see out there in photos and videos, in fish stores as well, they tend to be a little bit thin. And they don't look nice when they're thin, they're not happy, they just look very sickly. But not our Homer, he eats like a trooper, and in yellow tang style, he's one of the best cleaners of the algae that we've got at the moment, so he's getting through that quite nicely.
Lastly, we have our powder blue tang. Now, before you say anything, we know about the ick, we know they're ick magnets, we did our research, we knew what we were doing.
And we got one anyway.
And we got one.
He's the reason we went through the tank transfer method, and we got him home, put him in the tank and went, what are we going to call him? And I'm here going...
We had no idea. It took us a long time to work it out for him.
But we came up with his name finally. We called him Stitch because he's got such an erratic personality.
And he's blue.
And he's blue.
Like Stitch. Stitch has moved in and is trying to take over, and I don't think Bugs likes the idea of it.
I don't think he likes his little brother. But it only seems to happen when it's sort of sleep time or early in the morning when they're getting ready for food. The rest of the time, pretty peaceful tank, to be honest.
Yeah.
Everyone, especially during the day, they just cruise around looking for food, but it's just lovely to watch the tank so full of life again.
It is.
It really makes up for the coral losses that we've had, really gets you enthused about the hobby again.
Yeah, it's so good just to walk up to the tank and then suddenly you have not just 3 fish, you've got like 8 fish all right in front of you.
Going,
feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me, feed me.
But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's episode. It's been a long time between updates on this tank. Hopefully the next updates won't be so long and we'll have the tank back on track with the coral side as well. But as always, If you've enjoyed today's video, like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe.
Like, comment and subscribe. And be excellent to each other and keep it salty, everyone.
See you guys.
Bye for now.
We're normally one take wonders, but this is the 4th take.